So this is actually going to be 1.5 continued. And today we're going to talk about compound inequalities. There are two kinds of compound inequalities. What did we say they were? And, or, thank you, and or. Just like compound sentences in English, we have compound inequalities. We have and we have or. And means that all of your solutions solve both parts. All solutions must work for both. For an or problem, solutions work for one or the other. So when we talk about graphing an and problem, your graph is always sandwiched between two endpoints. Wherever those endpoints are, all of your solutions are sandwiched in the middle. Okay? Anything that falls between those two is sandwiched. Now, interval notation means that we're going to start at those 2 points where everything's going to be sandwiched between there. If it's a closed dot, it'll be a bracket. If it's an open dot, it's a parenthesis. For an or problem, when we graph it, it goes either this direction or it goes this direction. This is when it's going opposite. Graph goes opposite ways. Again, or and opposite kind of go together, right? Both ways. Our interval notation for this is a little bit different. Technically, this arrow starts at negative infinity, and it goes to the number. In between our two pieces, we're going to put what we call a U that represents the word or. And then our second half, if it's an open dot, it's a parenthesis, and it goes to positive infinity. Do you guys remember doing these? Okay, good. Good. Yep. All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to solve it. We're going to graph them, and of course, we're going to do interval notation. And there's only 12 in your homework. No, bonus. It's a worksheet. Only the front side. That's it. Okay? So let's start with an and problem. So let's talk about and. So, and inequalities. And inequalities can be written 2 different ways. They can either be written sandwiched between 2 inequality signs. So we'll put sandwiched between 2 inequality signs, and those inequality signs always go the same direction. They're always pointing this way. Or they can be written as 2 separate inequalities, do it this way, with and in the middle. 2 inequalities with and in the middle. It's just important to remember the word and tells you that it sandwiches together. So here is example number 1. Let's say I have negative 5 is less than 2x plus 1 less than or equal to 13. So in this one, you can see that our x is sandwiched between 2 inequality signs. And again, those inequality signs are always pointing in this direction. we're going to, since we're now in Algebra 2, back in Algebra 1 I made you write 2 separate ones. We're going to do it all together. Whatever we do to the middle, we can do to both ends. All right, so right here in the middle, to get x by itself, I'm going to subtract 1. Whatever I do here in the middle, I have to do to both ends. So negative 5 minus 1 is negative 6. I'm going to bring my inequality sign down. I have 2x less than or equal to 13 minus 1 is 12. Now what do I have to do to the middle? Yep. So I got to divide by 2, which means I got to divide by 2 everywhere. So negative 6 divided by 2 is negative 3. Bring my inequality sign down. X less than or equal to 6. All right, so this is my solution because x is all by itself. So now I'm going to graph it. I have a negative 3. The inequality sign means that I have an open dot here. I have 6. This inequality sign means I have a closed dot. And x is in the middle, which means all of my solutions fall between there. Interval notation. My open dot is a parenthesis at negative 3. I go to 6, and a closed dot means I have a bracket. Okay, so this is one type of AND problem when it is sandwiched in the middle. Here's another type of AND problem. So here's example number 2. Let's say I have 3x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 11, and 2x plus 1 is less than 31. So again, we see the word and in the middle, which means what is it going to do on the graph? It's going to sandwich, exactly. So all my solutions should sandwich, my graph should sandwich, everything is there. So we're going to start by solving this first one. 3x plus 2 is greater than or equal to 11. Subtract 2 to both sides. So I have 3x is greater than or equal to 9. Divide both sides by 3. And x is greater than or equal to 3. Let's go over here. And again, I'm going to put and, so I don't forget. I have 2x plus 1 is less than 31. First, I subtract 1 to the other side. So I have 2x is less than 30. Divide both sides by 2. And x is less than 15. So on my number line at 3, this says I have an open or closed dot. Closed, very good. And my inequality sign says that I'm going this direction. At 15, do I have an open or closed dot? Open. And this sign says I go this direction. So all my solutions sandwich in the middle. Interval notation starts with a bracket, 3 to 15. And it's an open dot, so that's a parenthesis. Any question on AND? Do we need more examples of AND? No? Let's go to OR. OR inequalities can only be written one way. Only with OR in between. It's the only way an OR can be written. So here's example number 3. Let's say I have 6 plus 2x is less than negative 10, or 3x plus 1 is greater than or equal to 12. 22. All right. So it's an OR problem. So what can you tell me as soon as you see the word OR, what's going to happen on our graph? They're going to go in opposite directions. Very good. All right. So this first one, I have 6 plus 2x is less than negative 10. First I subtract 6 to the other side. So I have 2x is less than negative 16. Divide both sides by 2. And I get x is less than negative 8. Or, over here, I have 3x plus 1 is greater than or equal to 22. Subtract 1 to the other side, and I have 3x is greater than or equal to 21. Divide both sides by 3, and x is greater than or equal to 7. All right, so on our number line, at negative 8, do I have an open or closed dot? Open, and this points to the left. It goes that direction. This one, at 7, do I have an open or closed dot? This one's closed, and which direction does this go? To the right. So let's talk about the interval notation for this. The arrow starts at negative infinity, goes to negative 8 with a parenthesis. A U. Now we do this inequality. This one starts with a bracket. It's 7 to infinity. Any questions? No questions? You guys are good? Do you want more examples? I'm feeling the love here. Okay.